Digital India Act will be implemented soon. Rules will be made for the internet. Social media will be regulated. Periodic Labour Force Survey released reduction in unemployment rate in the country. Worker population ratio increased in urban areas. ISRO will get its second spaceport. This spaceport will be established in Tamil Nadu. It will be used by the private sector. New species of dragonfly discovered in the Western Ghats, 12% different from known species, confirmed by DNA analysis. And Lancet Journal released report on the condition of stroke. Stroke will cause 10 million deaths by 2050. Low and middle income countries will be more affected. In view of the rapidly developing digital scenario, the government is preparing to bring Digital India Act, that is DIA 2023. This act will replace the 2-decade-old Information Technology Act 2000. It has been prepared by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. The aim of this new law is to keep pace with the digital revolution of the 21st century and prevent crimes from occurring there. The IT Act of 2000 was brought in at a time when the internet was in its infancy. Currently, its users in India have increased to 850 million. With the development of the internet, other digital challenges like cyber stalking and trolling are also being faced. This law is important to solve other similar problems that arise. Let us tell you that the proposed DIA will focus on online security along with protecting the rights of citizens in the digital sector. It will provide guidelines for the use of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and blockchain. DIA will also make them morally responsible. DIA maintains data privacy not by using technologies but by protecting against potential threats from them. It also promotes accountability. Apart from this, many types of concerns are also coming to the fore regarding DIA. It is believed that due to strict rules, there may be a negative impact on innovation, trade, entrepreneurship, and foreign investment. Freedom of expression may also be affected. Recently, Shrestha Yojana has been launched by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Under this scheme, residential high schools will be built in scheduled caste dominated areas. Scheme for residential education for students in high schools in targeted areas is the broader form of Shrestha. Scheduled caste boys and girls will be included in this scheme. The main objective of this project is to provide an environment for the social and economic upliftment and overall development of the scheduled caste. About 3,000 children will be selected under the scheme. For this, 1,500 students each from class 9th and 11th will be selected. However, the beneficiaries of this scheme will be only those students whose parents' annual income is below Rs 2.5 lakh. These children will be selected through entrance examination. Every year, this examination will be organized at the national level by NTA, that is National Testing Agency. Students will be given choices of schools as per their merit. Under this scheme, the entire fees, including school fees and hostel fees of the students taking admission, will be waived off. This scheme will be run in residential high schools run by non-government organizations and in aided institutions. Children will be provided high-quality education in these residential high schools. Recently, Professor Claudia Goldin was awarded the Nobel Prize in the fields of economics. Goldin has conducted research on women's earnings and labor market participation. Her research reveals the reasons for change as well as the main sources of gender differences. She found in her study that the participation of married women decreased with the transition from an agrarian to an industrial society in the early 19th century. However, the number of working women began to increase in the early 20th century with the development of the service sector. Goldin has put forward this pattern as structural change. It reflects evolving social norms regarding women's responsibilities for home and family, including opportunities to combine paid work and family, and decisions regarding educational attainment and child rearing. According to the study, globally only about 50% women participate in the labor market compared to 80% men. This makes it less likely for women to reach the top of the career ladder. Along with this, Professor Claudia has also put forward many facts on the difference in earnings between men and women. She claims that the era of modernization and economic development began in the 20th century. Despite this, there was no visible decrease in the difference in earnings of men and women. At present, this difference in earnings is visible between men and women in the same business. This largely arises with the birth of the first child. However, in the present times, access to contraceptive pills has provided new opportunities for women's career planning. Let us tell you that Claudia Goldin, the woman who won the Nobel Prize in Economics, is a professor of economics at the Harvard University. Claudia is the third woman to win the Nobel Prize in the field of economics. Before her, only 2 women scholars have been honored with this honor. Elinor Ostrom received this award in 2009 and Esther Duflo in 2019. Recently, the meeting of GST, that is Goods and Services Tax Council, was concluded. This was the 52nd meeting of the GST Council. Many major decisions were taken in this meeting, which was chaired by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. The GST Council has recommended changes in the process of appointment of chairman and members of the proposed GST appellate tribunals, including amendments in the eligibility and age criteria. Along with this, GST rates on millets, that is coarse grains and jaggery, was reduced. It is noteworthy that India is celebrating 2023 as Year of Millets. The government is trying to promote the production and consumption of millet. On the other hand, extra neutral alcohol used in making liquor has been kept out of the tax net. The Council has talked about exempting the services of public health, solid waste management and slum improvement in the GST slab. A separate tariff HS code at 8-digit level has been created in the Customs Tariff Act in the 52nd meeting of GST. Apart from this, ships converting to coastal route will have to pay 5% IGST. It is noteworthy that GST is a tax system which was implemented on July 1, 2017 under the 101st Constitutional Amendment Act. It was introduced with the slogan One Nation, One Tax. Under GST, taxes are divided into 4 tax slabs. In this, tax slabs of 5%, 12%, 18% and 28% have been kept for all goods and services. Recently, the 6th edition of PLFS, that is Periodic Labour Force Survey, was released. This report has been shared by National Sample Survey Office. It has been told through the report that there has been a decrease in the unemployment rate in the country. Similarly, improvement has also been seen in LFPR, that is Labour Force Participation Rate, and Labour Population Ratio. The LFPR in urban areas for persons aged 15 years and above was 47.5% in 2022. This figure will increase to 48.8% in the year 2023. The LFPR among men during this period stood at 73.5%. Whereas in comparison to the year 2022, the LFPR for women in 2023 has increased from 20.9% to 23.2%. The worker population ratio in urban areas increased from 43.9% in the year 2022 to 45.5% in the year 2023. During this period, the worker population ratio among males increased from 68.3% to 69.2%. At the same time, the participation of women in the labor population ratio increased from 18.9% to 21.1%. The report claimed a reduction in the unemployment rate for persons aged 15 and above. The unemployment rate in urban areas for persons aged 15 years and above has decreased from 7.6% in 2022 to 6.6% in 2023. Whereas for men, it decreased from 7.1% to 5.9% during this period. With this, the unemployment rate among women decreased from 9.5% in the year 2022 to 9.1% in the year 2023. Let us tell you that Periodic Labour Force Survey was started in the year 2017. This initiative was started by the National Sample Survey Office. Under PLFS, key employment and unemployment indicators are estimated on the basis of worker population ratio, labor force participation rate, unemployment rate. Let us tell you that labor force participation rate is defined as the percentage of persons in the labor force that is working or looking for work or available in the population. Talking about labor population ratio, it is known as the percentage of employed persons in the population. American Space Agency NASA is known for its unique space missions. Recently, NASA has launched Mission Psyche for the asteroid Psyche. Under Mission Psyche, the spacecraft will study the asteroid using multispectral imager, gamma ray, and neutron spectrometer. Additionally, the mission aims to determine whether Psyche is indeed the core of a planet. According to NASA, Psyche mission will reach the asteroid in about 6 years. According to NASA, this meteorite is in the shape of a potato. Its maximum width is 280 km and length is 232 km. It is being estimated that the Psyche meteorite is probably made of iron, nickel, and other metals. Asteroid Psyche orbits the Sun between Mars and Jupiter. Psyche takes about 5 Earth years to complete one orbit around the Sun. However, it takes about 4 hours to rotate once on its axis. Talking about asteroid Psyche, it is located at a distance of about 500 million kilometers from us. If the asteroid were a perfect sphere, its diameter would be approximately 226 kilometers. Scientists estimate that asteroid Psyche has a surface area of about 165,800 square kilometers. Let us tell you that the Psyche meteorite was discovered in the year 1852 by Italian astronomer Annibale di Gasparis. This meteorite has been named Psyche after the Greek god. Since it was the 16th asteroid to be discovered, it is sometimes called 16th Psyche. According to scientists, Psyche is one of the largest meteorites made of metal present in our solar system. Recently, scientists from Mahidol University of Thailand have shared unique research on the world's smallest plant. In this, watermeal has been tested in hypergravity conditions in collaboration with the European Space Agency. The watermeal samples were placed in LED boxes which mimic natural sunlight. Since the lifespan of this plant is very short, for this reason, researchers have studied the life cycle of this plant within just 5 to 10 days. This plant produces a lot of oxygen through photosynthesis. According to research, this plant can prove to be a main source of nutrition and oxygen for astronauts. Talking about watermeal plant, it is generally found in water. The name of this small flowering plant found on Earth is Wolffia globosa. It is colloquially called watermeal. Its length is less than 1 millimeter. It is a freely floating rootless plant. It is noteworthy that watermeal is the smallest seed-bearing plant in the world. It grows in dense colonies in calm waters without being affected by wave action. Watermeal is often found growing with duckweed. This plant is used as camouflage for fish, amphibians, reptiles, etc. It is a good source of protein. It has been consumed in Thailand for a long time. Therefore, it is considered suitable for space-based agriculture. Let us tell you that despite all the research, scientists have not yet reached any final conclusion. However, due to the extraordinary properties of this plant, it is being considered suitable for astronauts. The Indian Space Research Organization is ready to establish its second spaceport. This spaceport will be located at Kulasekharapattinam in Thoothukudi district of Tamil Nadu. It will be ready in about 2 years. This spaceport will be exclusively dedicated to SSLV, that is Small Satellite Launch Vehicle, developed by the private sector. The chairman of the Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center has recently announced this ambitious project. About 2,000 acres of land has been handed over to ISRO for this purpose. This new launch pad will exclusively cater to the needs of the private sector. ISRO will not launch any rocket from here. Additionally, it is planned to set up a small space manufacturing park near the new spaceport, which will further boost the capabilities of the private space industry in the region. It is noteworthy that currently ISRO operates its rocket launches from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. It was established in the year 1971. Due to its proximity to the equator, it was chosen as an ideal site for the launch of geostationary satellites. There are 2 launch pads located here for heavy launches like PSLV and GSLV, whereas it faces challenges while launching smaller rockets. This is the reason why there was a need for a new spaceport. Kulasekharapattinam has proximity to the equator. Also, by launching the rocket from here, it can be sent directly to the South Pole without passing through the island of Sri Lanka. Earlier, when launched from Sriharikota, small rockets had to pass through Sri Lanka This caused the rockets to lose a lot of fuel and also reduce their payload capacity. Let us tell you that SSLV is a 3-stage launch vehicle which has been designed to launch satellites weighing up to 500 kg into a flat orbit of 500 km. Recently, India has started a new initiative at the national level for climate-related information and services. It has been named NFCS, that is National Framework for Climate Services. NFCS will work with various agencies requiring climate services. It includes departments like hydrology, power, renewable energy, transport, dams and irrigation. NFCS aims to strengthen observation networks on land and sea and improve data flows. NFCS has been started at the national level on the lines of GFCS, that is Global Framework for Climate Services, existing at the global level. It is noteworthy that in line with global standards, the national framework is based on country-specific climate and stakeholder needs. The creation and implementation of the national framework in India is being led by the nodal agency IMD, that is India Meteorological Department. Talking about GFCS, it is a partnership of governments and organizations at the global level for the production and better use of climate information and services. The objective of the GFCS is to generate high-quality data from national and international databases on temperature, precipitation, wind, soil moisture and ocean state and other important weather parameters. Based on these parameters, long-term projections and scenarios are made. GFCS has 5 major components. These include observations and monitoring, research, modeling and prediction, climate services information systems, user interface platforms, and capacity building. However, at present, the GFCS is mainly working towards agriculture and food security, energy, health, water, and disaster risk. A recent study conducted by the Amphibian Red List Authority has found that climate change is becoming a threat to amphibians. These amphibians mainly include frogs, salamanders, and caecilians. The study has estimated the extinction of more than 8,000 amphibian species. Statistics show that a staggering 2 out of every 5 amphibian species are at risk of extinction. Between 2004 and 2022, more than 300 amphibians became extinct due to some serious threats. Due to being sensitive to changes in the environment, climate change is being said to be the main reason for the extinction of 39% of these amphibians. Agriculture and infrastructure development are causing habitat destruction, affecting 93% of the species. Apart from this, diseases caused by chytrid, fungus and overexploitation are also the reasons for the decline in their condition. According to the study, about 41% of all these amphibian species are currently endangered globally. These species are included in the category of critically endangered, endangered or vulnerable. Let us tell you that amphibians play an important role in maintaining the carbon storing ecosystem. The studies are part of a global effort to reduce the devastating effects of climate change on amphibians. The status of 63 species has improved due to habitat conservation and management. Recently, a report came out regarding Ganga River dolphin. The report highlights the successful rescue of dolphins from irrigation canals of the Ganga-Ghagra basin in Uttar Pradesh between 2013 and 2020. The report is titled Rescuing Ganges River Dolphins from Irrigation Canals in Uttar Pradesh, North India, 2013 to 2020. Apart from outlining their rescue operations, the report also details their behavior and demographics. According to reports, a total of 24 rescue operations were conducted, out of which 19 were successful. Of these, 14 are female dolphins and 10 are male dolphins. The total body length of these dolphins has been found to be between 128 to 275 cm. Dams and barrages are considered a significant threat to dolphin habitat. Due to the construction of dams, they move into irrigation canals in search of prey or when water is suddenly released from barrage gates. Due to this, they had to face other threats like rapidly depleting water, human interference. Let us tell you that the national aquatic animal of India is the Ganges River dolphin. It has been categorized as endangered in the IUCN Red List. According to the International Whaling Commission, immediate and coordinated action is needed to protect them from threats. A pilot scheme to use sound devices or pingers to deter dolphins from barrages has been recommended. Recently, a new species of dragonfly has been discovered in the Wayanad Plateau located in the Western Ghats. The research findings have been published in the Journal of Asia-Pacific Biodiversity by Elsevier Group. The species of dragonfly that was researched is known as red-rumped hawklet. Its scientific name is Epithemys wayanadensis. The red-rumped hawk's bill stands out due to its darker pigmentation, limited red coloration on the belly, and the absence of a yellow antehumeral stripe. It flies exclusively in the month of October and is not visible until early November. The rest of their year is spent in the aquatic larval stage. The newly discovered species is also found in the swamps near the forest area of Wayanad and parts of Nilgiri Kurg in the Western Ghats. Let us tell you that DNA analysis of the species was done to confirm the discovery. This species is an astonishing 12% genetically different from known species. Typically, 2% genetic variation indicates the presence of a new species. According to the researchers, this is the first example of an Indian dragonfly for which genetic evidence supports differences in its form or structure. Recently, Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Singh Mann has announced a ban on the cultivation of Pusa 44 paddy variety. Several reasons are being given by the Punjab government for the ban on the variety. The most important reason is the scarcity of groundwater. The government aims to conserve irrigation water for a month by banning this variety. It is noteworthy that Punjab is suffering from groundwater shortage. Out of 141 agricultural development blocks in the state, 102 were declared dark zones. Here, the rate of depletion of groundwater was more than the rate of recharge. Additionally, this variety is also known aggravate the long-standing problem of stubble burning in the state. Talking about Pusa 44 variety, it is a long-duration variety. It takes about 160 days to be ready. Compared to other varieties, it takes more time, about 35 to 40 days. Also, it requires 5 to 6 additional cycles of irrigation. It is noteworthy that Pusa 44 was developed in 1993 by the Delhi-based Indian Council of Agricultural Research, only in some parts of the state. However, due to higher yields, this variety of paddy was extended to other areas of the state. According to statistics, by the end of 2010, Pusa 44 was used in about 70 to 80% of the area in paddy cultivation. However, in the year 2022, this variety has been cultivated in only 22% area of the state. These days, people in different parts of the world are getting affected from the problem of floods. Meanwhile, the World Bank has shared a shocking report related to floods. It claims that since 1985, human settlement in flood-prone areas has increased by about 122%, due to which more people have become vulnerable to water disasters caused by climate change. On the other hand, according to the report published in the journal Nature, an increase of 80% has been recorded in safe areas as compared to flood areas. Along with this, the study said that in most of the countries, especially in East Asia, more settlements have been established in high flood-prone areas. According to the World Bank, as countries are becoming economically stronger, people are migrating from rural areas to cities. According to the study, the problem of increase in flood areas is more visible in middle and low-income countries. The developed nations of the United States and parts of Europe are seeing greater growth in the protected areas than in flood areas. Additionally, China and Vietnam have more than tripled their settlement limits in the last 30 years. Also, India's neighboring country Pakistan has seen an increase of 89% in the area affected by floods. If we talk about the flood situation in India, 75 lakh hectares of land is affected by floods here. A recent report published in the Lancet journal has expressed concern over the serious condition of a stroke. This report has been jointly published by the World Stroke Organization and the Lancet Neurology Commission. According to this, there may be about 10 million deaths every year by 2050. Stroke mainly affects low and middle income countries. Let us tell you that due to improper blood flow in any vein of the brain, rupture of the vein or blockage, there is a lack of oxygen in the brain. Due to this, the tissues get damaged and start destroying rapidly. Due to this, the problem of stroke arises. According to the report, the number of deaths due to stroke in 2020 was 6.6 million, while it is likely to reach 9.7 million by the year 2050. It is also estimated that by 2050, the contribution of stroke deaths in low and middle income countries will increase from 86% to 91%. According to the report, the largest share of global stroke deaths in 2020 was in Asia, which was about 61%. It is believed that by 2050 it will increase to about 69%. Whereas in African countries, the number of deaths in 2020 was 6%, while it is expected to increase to 8% in 2050. If necessary action is not taken in this regard, we could see an increase of approximately 2 million in these deaths by 2050. However, the Indian Council of Medical Research has given some recommendations in this regard. These recommendations provide guidance for adequate prevention and treatment. For this, a cost-effective monitoring system should also be established. Along with this, it is also necessary to lead a healthy lifestyle and make people aware. Amidst the election campaign, PVTG, that is particularly vulnerable tribal group, has once again become the center of discussion in Chhattisgarh. In fact, recently the Baga community in the state has become the second group to get habitat rights in the state. Before Baga, this right was given to Kamar community. According to the data, a total of 19 Baga villages with a population of 6,483 people have been given habitat rights. If we talk about Baga community, it mainly resides in Rajnandgaon, Kavardha, Mungeli, Gorela Pendra Madwahi and Bilaspur districts of Chhattisgarh. Whereas in India they reside in 8 states. These states are Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal, Odisha, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Maharashtra. It is noteworthy that the maximum population of Baga tribe resides in Madhya Pradesh. Let us tell you that habitat rights protect and promote traditional livelihoods and ecological knowledge passed down from generations. PVTG groups were given special rights in the FRA, that is Forest Rights Act, enacted in the year 2006. Under this, tribal communities and other traditional forest dwellers have been given the right to use forest resources, on whom these communities depended for various needs including livelihood, shelter and other socio-cultural needs. It is noteworthy that PVTG covers those tribal groups which are more vulnerable. In the year 1973, Debhar Commission had created PTG, that is Primitive Tribal Group, as a separate category. However, in the year 2006, the Government of India changed the name of PTG to PVTG. At present, a total of 75 tribal groups in India are included in the PVTG group. Let us now look at the 5 questions based on the bulletin. Questions based on today's bulletin are: first question is, consider the following statements related to Shrestha Yojana. 1. It has been launched by the Ministry of Education. 2. Scheduled Caste and tribes will benefit from this. 3. About 3,000 children will be selected under this. 4. Children will be selected for scholarship through entrance examination. How many of the above statements are wrong? Only 1, only 2, all 4 or none. Next question is, consider the following statements related to periodic labor force survey. 1. It was released for the first time in the year 2017. 2. It is released by the National Sample Survey Office. 3. Through this, the labor population ratio, labor force participation rate, unemployment rate in the country is estimated. How many of the above statements are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3 or none. Next question is, consider the following statements related to Kulashekhara-Patnam. 1. The place Kulashekhara-Patnam is present in the Indian state of Kerala. 2. The place is near the equator. 3. ISRO's second space port will be established at this location. How many of the above statements are wrong? Only 1, only 2, all 3 or none. Next question is, consider the following statements related to red-rumped hawklet. 1. This is a new species of dragonfly. 2. It is mainly found in the Western Ghats. 3. Its scientific name is Epithemys vianadensis. How many of the above statements are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3 or none. Last question is, consider the following statements with reference to Baga community. 1. This community is included in the particularly vulnerable tribal group. 2. This tribe is found only in Chhattisgarh. 3. This is the second group to get housing rights in Chhattisgarh. How many of the above statements are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3 or none. At the end, let us have a look at few more events of the last week in other news. Recently, the 91st anniversary of Indian Air Force Day was celebrated. This year, the Air Force Day parade was organized at Air Force Station, Bamrauli, Prayagraj. Let us tell you that this year its theme is Air Power Beyond Boundaries. This is the first Air Force Day parade which was commanded by women officer Shalija Dhami. A new flag was also unveiled on this occasion. Earlier, Indian Air Force flags included the Union Jack on the upper left side and the RIAF roundel on the fly side. After independence, the Union Jack was replaced by the Indian tricolor and the Royal Air Force roundels were replaced by the IAF tricolor roundel. The new flag has the national emblem Ashoka symbol on the top of the Air Force crest on the fly side in the upper right corner and the words Satyamev Jayate written in Devanagari below it. Below the Ashoka symbol is a Himalayan eagle with its wings spread. It shows the combat prowess of the Indian Air Force. A light blue ring surrounds the Himalayan eagle on which are written the words Indian Air Force and the motto. Recently, the 82nd Foundation Day of CSIR was celebrated by CSIR NISCPR. The occasion highlighted the role played by CSIR laboratories in technological advancement. Also, the first biennial report of CSIR NISCPR 2021-2023 was also released. During this time, wrong use of energy was said to be the cause of problems like climate change. Organization of cultural program, distribution of awards and felicitation of retired employees were also included in the program. This Foundation Day of CSIR paves the way for innovation and excellence in the future. Let us tell you that CSIR NISCPR is located in New Delhi and it came into existence in 2021. It is a leading research institute in India specializing in the fields of science communication and policy studies. Recently, the MOU between India and France for cooperation in the field of digital technology has been approved. The objective of the agreement is to promote cooperation and exchange of information related to digital technologies. This agreement between the two countries has been made for 5 years. This will empower the citizens of both the countries and ensure their full participation in the digital century. Through this, employment opportunities in the IT sector will also be promoted. It is noteworthy that in the year 2019, a roadmap was prepared for both the countries on cybersecurity and digital technology. Under the roadmap, both countries are pursuing an ambitious bilateral cooperation on digital technologies. These mainly include the fields of supercomputing, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and quantum technology. Recently, the Animal Husbandry and Dairying Department of the Government of India has started a program called A-Help in Jharkhand. It aims to empower women by involving them as recognized agents. These agents make important contributions to disease control, animal tagging, and livestock insurance. Let us tell you that the full name of A-Help is Accredited Agent for Health and Extension of Livestock Production, that is Accredited Agent for Health and Extension of Livestock Production. This is an important step towards promoting livestock health, extension services, and women empowerment. This will potentially improve livestock productivity and rural development. The scheme will promote access to veterinary services at the doorstep of farmers. Besides, it will also empower the animal friends. It is noteworthy that this scheme has already been started in Bihar, Gujarat, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and Jharkhand. Recently, the 2023 edition of Cyclone exercise was conducted by the Indian Navy in Goa. It included 8 countries of the Indian Ocean region. The 3-day event included a seminar, a tabletop exercise, and a multi-agency capacity demonstration. Various national agencies like National Disaster Management Authority, National Disaster Response Force, and other various national agencies were involved in the exercise. The logo of this year's exercise signifies that AJHE will depend on joint and integrated action by all agencies. Let us tell you that Cyclone is an annual joint humanitarian assistance and disaster relief exercise. It emphasizes on developing collective and effective response mechanism during humanitarian crises and natural disasters. The exercise is conducted by the Indian Army, Indian Navy, and Indian Air Force on rotation basis since 2016. October 12 was celebrated as World Sight Day. This day is celebrated every year on the second Thursday of October. Let us tell you that this is a global program. The purpose of celebrating this day is to draw people's attention towards blindness and vision loss. It also aims to help people understand the importance of protecting their vision in the workplace. This year, the theme of this day is Love Your Eyes at Work. Let us tell you that this day is being celebrated every year since 2000. It was initially celebrated by the Lions Club International Foundation as part of the Sight First campaign. It is currently coordinated by the International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness alongside the World Health Organization. Indian Space Research Organization, that is ISRO, will carry out the first of many test flights on October 21 before the Gaganyaan mission. The test will be conducted at the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. In this, the crew module or that part of the vehicle where the Indian astronauts will be kept will be tested. The purpose of this test is to launch the crew module into outer space. In this, CES, that is Crew Escape System, will also be tested, which will ensure the safety of the astronauts if any kind of problem occurs while the spacecraft is going into space. The name of the test is TVD-1, that is Test Vehicle Abort Mission. It is noteworthy that the success of this test will pave the way for the unmanned Gaganyaan mission. Also, a flight test for manned missions will be conducted next year. Female robot astronaut Vyom Mitra will be included in this. These days, the world is burning in the fire of Israel-Hamas war. In such a situation, all the countries have started efforts to evacuate their citizens trapped in this war. India has also started Operation Ajay to rescue its people trapped in the war zone. Under this mission, Indian citizens will return to their homeland from Israel and Palestine. According to media reports, the Government of India is facilitating the return of Indian citizens through special chartered flights. If required, Indian Navy ships will also be pressed into service.